In this video, I want to start talking about the idea of the harmonic form. And the harmonic form is all about situations where we can take some combination of sine and cosine and write the expression as a single trigonometric function, being the cosine or the sine. Okay. So let's start with a graphical presentation of this idea. I want to graph the sine of x plus cosine of x, and up on the board I've gone ahead and graphed each of these separately. And now I want to think about adding the y coordinates together in order to get the graph of this function. Okay. So at 0, sine is 0, cosine is 1. So those functions added together will give me a value of 1. Okay. These functions intersect at pi over 4, and the value of each of them at pi over 4 is 1 over radical 2, right? So if I add 1 over radical 2 to 1 over radical 2, we of course get 2 over radical 2, which is more than 1. Right? That will be a point on the graph for the sine of x plus the cosine of x. Okay. Then we come to pi over 2. At pi over 2, we have 0 plus 1, which is 1. Let's think about pi. At a value of pi, sine is 0, cosine is negative 1, so we'll have a value of negative 1. These functions intersect, this time at 5 pi over 4. Sorry, I had to think about it. Right, at 5 pi over 4, they both have a value of negative 1 over radical 2. So when you add negative 1 over radical 2 to negative 1 over radical 2, we get negative 2 over radical 2. So our graph of the addition of the sine and the cosine goes down to negative 2 over radical 2. 0 plus negative 1. And then 0 plus positive 1. Okay. So the graph of the sine plus the cosine is going to look something like that. And notice, depending on where you start looking at this graph, if we start looking at it from pi over 4, this looks exactly like a cycle of the cosine. Right? If we start it somewhere else in the graph, say from here, it's going to look like a graph of the negative sine function. For our videos, we'll always try to think of the harmonic form in terms of cosine. And if we look here, we have a cycle of the cosine with a period of 2 pi starting at pi over 4. With a midline of 0, but an amplitude of 2 radical 2. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and show that indeed the sine of x plus the cosine of x can be written as a single cosine function with a phase shift of pi over 4 and an amplitude of 2 over radical 2.